I don't sit back and be like, oh, I wish I just went for it, because I wouldn't have gone for that unless James threw a better shot off the tee.
No.
That's a super special feeling to me, and something I'm not taking for granted and hope to never take for granted.
That is why we dream, folks. Man right there, Ricky Wasaki, your 2016 PDGA World Champion after a dominant week.
Yeah, you got to be happy for Rick. I mean,
Man of the year, man of the hour, man of the whatever you want to say. World champion Greg Barsby. For this man, the drought is over. Paul McBeth, your 5-time world champion, with praise from his wife.
Are you dialed in with your hypers?
Yeah, they've gotten pretty good.
Okay, good. I'm able to keep my head down, play my game. That's all I can really ask for. You have another switch or an extra gear that you can kick it into.
I just think I put more pressure on myself at these tournaments. Like I said, it's the one that everyone wants. So I just want to show that I want it more.
Hello and welcome to the one we've all been waiting for, the 2022 Professional Disc Golf Association World Championship. We are here in Emporia, Kansas. Jones Supreme Course today. Nate Sexton, Jeremy Koling, and Paul Ulibarri.
Hold up. Guys, I have a really cool surprise for you.
Jonathan Jomez.
I drove 9 hours to get here in time for this. I'm so excited. This is the reveal
Oh,
of the new
sweet.
BigSexyBarri discs.
These are sick.
This is the first time we're seeing these.
Yes.
First time hearing about these.
These
Now
are
with
available
Barry.
now at JomezPro.com. This is a special surprise for these guys.
these are
They have never
sweet.
seen these before. Please go pick these up. 22 different molds.
Dude.
So many different molds. I can't even name them all. Go
my
check them out
gosh.
right now. Also, Next Day Live is coming up this weekend on Sunday, September 4th. You can be there online or in person. Check out the website for tickets. Back to you guys.
That's awesome.
That would Barry.
All right, that's incredible. Man, go check this out. World Championships. This is going to be bananas, folks.
And here we are, Emporia, Kansas, population 24,631, founded in 1857. That's been here a long time.
Some pretty incredible statistics right here from Statmando as well. Of all the cities in the world, the most unique PDGA players to have competed at least once in their career, 7,835 people have come here to play disc golf tournaments.
4 million shots thrown. Oh my goodness. That's incredible. Obviously, Emporia has really established themselves as a mecca of sorts in disc golf, and we are happy to be here for the World Championships. Greg Barsby, he is here, one-time world champion. He is a solid player at the major championships. Another player who has done pretty well at the majors, McBeth. Folks, this guy has taken the top 2 spots in the last 9 world championships. He has not finished out of the top 2. He is a major killer, insanely good stats, and another player who's been playing incredibly well in majors, Chris Dickerson. In his last 6 majors, he has 5 top 5 finishes, including a win at the USDGC and this year at the Champions Cup. And obviously Mason Ford, a player who really broke out last year at Worlds, had an incredible finish, was right there in the mix, and he plays so well. DD sponsored. Obviously this is a DD town. It's going to be a special week, folks.
Looking right here at hole 1, pretty diabolical if I'm honest. Par 3, 291 through the gap. If you're past these flags right here at the front of the ditch, that's what you have to clear. You have to be on the island if you're on that other side, in that red rubberized wood chip substance that I don't really understand quite what it is. You got to be in there though. If you're not there, you go to a drop zone. The drop zone is a bit easier now, maybe a 40-footer,
45, yeah,
footer.
something like that.
So it's, I think, a little more attackable than it was. Certainly the wind is down compared to what we're used to in Emporia. So for that reason alone, a lot more players going to be going for this.
It is a right to left win, which is kind of a tough one to start off. It's not a far shot, 291 like you said, but let's see if he can. And that's the problem.
Boy.
If you started off with hyzer, it wants to push left right away.
Yeah.
And, of course, the nerves are just spiked as high as they can be for this first shot. Here's McBeth. I'm excited to see these guys play, though.
I wonder what kind of nerves McBeth feels at this stage in his career going for his 6th world title.
I think still plenty. I mean, I think he's confident, but he puts a lot of pressure on himself, and he should.
Just needs to get down quick and just over that wall. A few inches lower, and it catches that wall and stays in bounds, but now he's going to have to go to the drop zone. He will meet Greg Barsby there.
Yeah, but 3 feet to the left, and he's ringing it up for a one-time.
Yeah.
That was chain height.
The winds are down so much that usually you're going to see these guys might even think about laying it up.
Yes.
Which has been a big play in the past, but it's just so gettable right now.
And there were still players laying it up, for sure. But yeah, I think the majority rolling the dice here.
Interesting fact about hole 1 here at Jones Supreme. This is the hardest under 300-foot hole on tour. 3.47 average at the DDO. And look at Mason.
Does he stay?
He does on the back corner.
Wow.
I've never seen that in any practice rounds. But this is the hardest under 300-foot hole on tour.
It makes perfect sense to me.
3.47.
Take a look at those stamps again popping up.
Ooh,
I like that.
Oh boy.
What if maybe no island greens ever on hole 1 ever again? I'd sign on the dotted line.
I kind of like the hole. I think it's a nervy hole. You can easily play for your par.
I just don't want it to be hole 1.
Yeah, I like that it's on hole 1 because you don't like it.
I'm impartial.
Well, we got nowhere today. Let's see if McBeth can hit this big momentum type of putt.
And right there, it looks like it's a 20-footer, but that is all of 45 feet on a very high basket. So if you do give it the full go, you can easily go out of bounds again.
That back wall is basically inside bullseye. So, I mean, it really has to be a conservative effort from that drop zone. Otherwise, you can find yourself going out of bounds a second time, and you can't do that.
Great birdies from Mason and Chris to get their championship started.
I think disc golf is viewed so much better from above. It's so cool to see the true flight of a disc when we can see that from at a different angle.
Hole 2, par 5 already. Big Daddy coming out 1,087 feet. This one is a big drive to start with OB on the left and the right. You would like to flip a little bit to the right side as a right-handed player and then have the big hyzer over the water. I think if you have that option, you can really set up a 350 or less play into the green to set up your birdie putt. If you have to go down the tunnel, maybe your odds aren't quite as good.
Really bombs away off this tee. No reason to sell yourself short. Big turning drive here for Dickerson. Turning over on that Z force. That is exactly where you want to be. That is a great drive. He's going to have options.
Yeah, I think if anything, maybe you move that a little right. We'll see where he lands, or when we see the next shot.
I now that you're saying that, I do believe that perhaps being on the left side really doesn't give him tons of options. He's pretty much got to go down the low tunnel. He's not going to have the hyzer play that you were talking about. But Mason Ford, he is a little bit right of where Chris is, but not quite as far.
Greg gets a smooth turn on this, right up the middle of the fairway.
Let's see how Paul responds.
Little late flip, just like the other guys. I mean, they're not going to make a big mistake here. You have a lot of room on the right-hand side. They're not going to be pushing that left-hand side. As we see these positions,
Paul, give us a little breakdown. What is McBeth going to have from that spot?
well, McBeth is a little farther right, so I think that's setting up the hyzer like Nate was talking about.
And Chris actually 70 feet farther than Paul's drive, really take a lot of distance off that tee. He's going to have that tunnel that Barsby just went down, but he's going to have a much better angle. Barsby's still going to be roughly on the back end of 300 to 400, maybe like 375.
Into the pin, yeah.
To the pin, I'm sorry.
Ooh, that's an early hit.
And that's going to drop down out of bounds. And the question now is, where did Mason cross? Because that branch is hanging over out of bounds.
And so he was kind of in no man's land there, as you could see. He opted for the sidearm because he couldn't throw the low hyzer or the turnover. So
it's going to give him a good angle to the pin, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why you got to have all the shots. You can't put these guys in a spot where they're not going to figure out how to advance down the fairways, especially on these courses.
And Chris has a great angle here for the low turnover. He's got that a little bit more turnover than he'd like. But with such a big drive, he's still set up for a decent position.
That second kick was important, kept him away from the out of bounds. And it looks like Mason did not cross on the other side of the water, so he's got to move up a little bit, but not enough to save par.
This has got to get over these trees as well.
You can see a little bit of nervousness there as Mason sees that indeed does clear the trees on the right side of the fairway, moves its way to the left side. He'll have less than 300 into the pin.
This is going to be low ceiling, about 380 to the pin. I like that.
Yep.
About 5 feet to the pin
Yeah,
now.
that is well done. And that's what you get when you cut off so much distance off the tee. Even if you are messing up your approach a little bit, I was actually really close to where he was there, and it's about 365 feet. Very manageable for a player like Chris Dickerson.
This is hyzering out a little early for Greg, but it's still a good putt distance, probably edge of circle one.
Yeah, so I guess Greg was probably in the 340 to 350 range. Actually got more distance off the second shot than I.
Wow, and Paul really pushed this out close to the out-of-bounds road. I mean, the advantage of that is now he has no trees to deal with except the last one.
Of course.
And you see him not really believing that he hits that. The only thing he really could have hit on that shot. Make his putt a little more difficult.
In that situation with the road right there so close to the basket, the road really is your friend. You really have an even wider approach angle than you normally would if that were all grass. You know you're going to get a little bit of skip off that road. Surprised that I think Paul was even playing for that. Still in range for birdie though.
This is an interesting course because of the fact that it gets so windy. The course can flip-flop and change completely. Let's see if Barsby can hit his signature little pop putt. Yes, sir. When that
good
gets
start.
on, oh man, that guy can be dangerous. But what I mean is, like on a day like today, these guys can all throw far enough to where they're going to have those 250-foot to 300-foot shots in. That's not something that we're used to the whole entire season. So you're going to really have to go down to power drives and then something that I love, fundamentals.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of shorter, when the wind is down, some of these holes are playing a little bit shorter, a little bit more attackable than we're used to the big bombers that we've seen on tour.
Hole 3 is this par 4, 654 feet. Unlike the DDO, the out of bounds is no longer requiring the player to rethrow from the tee, which really caused some devastating scores and numbers on this hole. Instead, you would move forward to the drop zone, but other than that, traditional OB rules do apply from there. It's about a 400 to 450 clearance based on what part of the pond you clear.
And it was a slight little headwind breeze. Not ripping, but just enough, I feel like, to make everybody nervous, stable up.
Totally. You don't want a headwind going into hole 3, that's for sure. Chris playing that nice and wide. He's not going to have, there's that big pine tree that's kind of in that perfect landing zone that so many players find themselves behind. Chris is right at that, and he's going to have a pretty open approach to the pin.
Yeah, I would say that little headwind maybe doesn't make Chris Dickerson nervous, but it sure made me nervous.
Greg put a nice flex move on this. He's going to get right behind the tree that I was just talking about, though. But inbounds is fine. You should be able to find some way to get around it, but I don't know how close you can get to the pin.
Such an awesome design to put that bush right there because it forces the 450 to 475 guys. That's where you have to land.
Yeah.
Because if you're throwing anything more understable, you're risking flipping it out of the to the right where that out of bounds line is, where these guys are just throwing hyzers.
Yeah.
But in order to get over it at that 475 mark, if that's what your peak distance is, you have to get a little flex on, which is super nerve-wracking with a headwind.
Good shot from McBeth. And Mason now, he is going to be attacking with a even flippier disc than Greg, or at least he's getting it turned more.
Does this beat the tree? Yes, it does.
That is a huge drive from Mason. Perfect position. Imagine, Greg will be next, and this is what you have from here. You have flick rollers, and you're just trying to get to at least the other side of the tree. And Greg's got that. But
yeah, that's done well.
Yeah, you can't really think that you're in birdie position if you're on the other side of that big guy.
And here's that shot I was talking about, man. Fundamentals. See how he leaks it a little bit?
Yeah.
That should be something that you just have dialed. 200 feet, but we just don't play it anymore on tour, really.
Yeah.
A lot of players' mid-ranges are just kind of leaking out of the bag. Oh,
Ooh,
Chris, a little
touch.
Cheeky skip up and hits the cage. We did see a couple eagles on this hole at the DDO, but we actually had a favorable wind at that event. Nice little tailwind off the tee made that eagle drive a little bit more feasible. And Mason's into C1. Greg in his 2018 bid for Worlds had a couple little throw-ins. If you remember, he had a...
Oh my God.
I swear to you folks, I had no clue that was going to happen. I am not even kidding. I had no idea.
We've said it so many times. The absolute king of that
Yeah.
type of shot. Like, there's nobody I've ever seen that can put it. That was technically pretty difficult. Anheuser pushed the ceiling, around everything over 100 feet, I would guess.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up and see what UDISC calls that. They call it 96 feet.
Yeah, I'm calling it 101. That was incredible.
101. Just give him the extra 5. Mason in for birdie. McBeth off on his putt. But yeah, that's what Barsby does, and that's what he does in majors.
Man, a guy is good at something when we as commentators are kind of trying to tease, like, Greg is pretty great at these. And then he actually just makes it right there. I mean, that was awesome.
Wow. Greg under par now after the bogey start. McBeth, however, the bogey start and a couple of pars.
Hole 4, interesting par 4, 668 feet, in that these guys are going to be able to chew off a lot of distance. And if you do it correctly, you can land around here, which it's then that really fun 250-foot up shot you're going to have to make. So let's see if they actually push it or if they play a little more conservative.
Definitely possible for the elite arms to clear the corner in one. This guy possesses one of those arms. Let's see where he can get to.
Chris smashes.
Yeah, he rips.
And he's got over on that force again, just like he did on hole 2, and that is
this is clearing.
Quality.
Yeah, that's around the corner. I mean, just dead straight, 220, 230, 240, somewhere in there.
He doesn't have that aggressive turn that looks like he's going to achieve the elite distance, but he is, I mean, top 15 distance guy on tour, I would say.
Yeah.
On course distance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we think of him for his routine and how mechanical his form looks, but we don't necessarily say, oh, Chris Dickerson bombs.
We're saying it now.
We're saying it now. This is turned over right, but it is going to be out of bounds.
Oh, that's tough.
You work so hard to try to avoid that OB left, which can really come and play. It comes and play a lot more often than the OB on the right. But working against that OB left, Mason has found the unfortunate OB.
And this needs to kind of hyzer out as well. Okay.
It does. Got a little bit of finish for him.
Yeah, and we see Paul not grabbing onto that disc. I heard from a reliable source that he's having some left shoulder issues, and he felt like holding onto the disc, that was actually going to unhinge his
and we're talking about like
throw.
as he runs up. So if
Right.
you watch him in his drive, he's really like keeping that left arm stiff.
Oh.
And look at that there. Chris Dickerson, 497 uphill.
Wow.
On course distance, that's premium.
And 2 for 2, I mean, way past McBeth.
Yeah, and McBeth is going to still have such an easy upshot in those two positions. And what a cool graphic for them to put in there to where we can see where they're placed in comparison to each other.
Mason's having a frustrating start to the hole 4. He is into the trees on the right side as Barsby spikes in a great hyzer approach. But Mason will be looking at most likely a bogey coming up here, but let's take a look at that great hyzer from Barsby.
This looked so close. Just short? Wow.
Off the pole.
The pole. Beautiful shot.
And let's see if McBeth can finally dial up a good-looking approach. He's on the green. That should be a make for McBeth's first birdie of the World Championships.
That's so crazy that they went so far right and far that they have sidearms with no trees in the way.
Yeah.
That is really making the hole as simple as it should for these long arms. And look at the spot that Mason has found. He's got to go overhead, just upside down, little tomahawk action, and he's still got a little bit of meat on the bone for the bogey.
Okay, even par. Not the start Paul wanted, but this course is so scoreable. He can get on a roll here.
But you don't really want to spot Chris Dickerson potentially 4 shots at any time in a tournament. The guy is just too good. Not to say that anything is decided this early. So we wait to see if it will be 4 shots, and it certainly will.
Well, that's another thing about this tournament is, and not unlike the rest of the year, this is a 5 tournament round.
Yes.
World Championships where everything else, our longest one is 4.
Yep.
So you get that extra round in there, and the cream really does start to rise to the top.
We do have some 4-round events like the majors, but only a few of our Elite Series events that aren't majors are 4 rounds. So most of our events are decided in 3. That 5 really turns into an endurance race. The first 3 rounds, maybe even the first 4, are about skill. That 5th round is all about your brain and your mental. I mean, can you keep it together if you're in the mix? McBeth, top 2 in the last 9. He's been able to. I mean, clearly.
OB right behind the basket here on the 5th. That's probably the trickiest feature about this hole. It's not long, just 385.
Yeah, a little low ceiling, I feel like, is what gets you nervous. It's really about the height.
Yeah. This is just under the ceiling.
Oh, boy. That is a really nice drive from Chris, but an inch higher, I don't know if it makes it through.
What a start he's having.
Mm-hmm.
Barsby likes to do that really low release and then the flip up, almost like an air bounce that he's developed. And as you can see, yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
That's
this is going to be
great.
great.
Who might have questioned why he's not going forehand when you're throwing shots like that? But that forehand line is really down his wheelhouse. But
Yeah, look at it lift right there. And he even does that on his big distance shots as well.
Yep.
beautiful.
He's got a lot of wheels in the house.
I know. He really his arsenal is maybe.
I mean, what is a wheelhouse? I wouldn't say that I know.
That is the right expression, though.
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely.
I didn't.
No, I think you nailed it.
Blew that one. I didn't blow that one.
You nailed it.
I did.
Maybe
blow
like a Goodyear or
Ooh,
something.
did that like split the bridge railings? That was weirdly low, but he's gonna have a long look.
Yeah, that there is OB on that little ditch all the way across the fairway, about midway, and that actually comes into a play for a lot of those shots that do end up hitting the high ceiling.
Ooh, potentially saved by the bridge.
Yeah, that is the scary part about that, because it's at the lowest part of the fairway. A lot of those shots end up trickling into out of bounds area.
Good little bid.
Totally.
Got a lot of pop on it, yeah.
It's hard to get that height right uphill from that range. McBeth is low again. The low putts, you don't see him miss low. You just don't. It doesn't matter how close he is, how far he is. He usually gets the height right. 5 under through 5. What a start.
Yeah.
If Chris Dickerson keeps us up for the next 90 holes total, he's going to win the World Championships.
I don't know. McBeth can get hot. He could go 91, 92 under.
85 holes remaining in the World Championships, and Chris is off to a good start.
Yeah, you got to like your chances. This hole's pretty fun when it's not windy, it turns out. Hole 315, elevated basket over the water. You got OB long as well. Great time for kind of a wide swinging hyzer forehand. Flat mid-range is a great play. Don't mess with that little tree on the right. Certainly possible to hit that and roll out of bounds.
And if you do go out of bounds, you have to go to a drop zone, and that tree that you want to miss off the tee comes into play again.
The drop zone is kind of tricky.
Chris playing this straight with hyzer, but not much fade with the wasp, and he's in the bullseye, folks. He's going to be 6 for 6.
What? I didn't know.
Yeah.
That Chris was 6 for 6
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Like, that is ridiculous disc golf.
Only 2 players in the field got the first 5, and Chris is one of them.
Great wide forehand.
It's gotta go,
catch
right?
it. Oh, doesn't catch it.
That happens so often. That bank isn't necessarily perpendicular with the pin. It kind of wraps back away from the basket or away from the tee.
Super wide for Paul, but I think it probably has the height. Long.
Oh, and that's not as scary as if you were pin high right.
That's scary.
But it's still scary, especially from that distance.
Here's that mid-range play we were talking about. Let's see if he can get it to flip up. He does. He does.
Doesn't have the distance? Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
does.
that looks great.
Nice. So now we will see that tricky drop zone. Really going to putt it. This is far. Oh, he's going to do a little thrower.
You already got one of these going in
He's
this
probably
round.
going to make it.
There's that tree, man.
Again, didn't know that happened. Just, that's the way this hole's played.
That's going to be a tricky putt.
See if McBeth figures out the height, and another low one, and that one was off a little bit to the right.
Kind of a good little dig there.
I can't really believe what we're seeing. I mean, it was crazy enough when Dickerson had 4 on McBeth through 4, and now we're talking about 6 back. 6 holes into the championship and 6 back. Wow.
Top 5 in his last 6 majors. I mean, Chris Dickerson knows how to show up on the big events.
I mean,
And the small events and
Yeah.
the other size events and all of them. But
I mean, Chris's start is great. I wouldn't quite call it surprising.
Yeah, not
but
surprising.
McBeth's, I mean,
Yeah.
an off start for McBeth, you got to feel would be like -2,
well, look at the flag
-3.
on top of the basket. It's not moving.
Yeah, there's nothing.
There's a breeze out here, which is actually really important because it's a hot day,
Yes.
but it's not enough to affect. It's just it's kind of guiding you through the course. It's not enough to, you have to use it to your advantage, but it's not going to dictate the round. And right now, Chris is using hyzers, backhand, forehand, and he's throwing great shots and making putts. And, you know, we know McBeth is going to start kicking into gear at some
Got
point.
to. Looking at hole 7, par 4, 704, kind of a narrow drive, and you've got to get over some out of bounds area to get to that landing zone that you'd like. And it's really important to kind of crest the hill as you get to see these tee shots. These guys are going to want to get 400 feet plus off of this one, get up to the top of the hill, and that sets up a pretty simple shot around a cedar tree to the basket.
And that drive looks pretty money.
Does it climb? Doesn't
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I think it makes a decent difference. You got that uphill run up now, not quite as good of a view. Certainly still a very makeable shot, but it isn't quite what he's looking for.
Yeah, this had a little more height, but it's not going to get up there either.
I like this play for McBeth. The airspace high left is plenty. And you can really force it over without worrying about it going out of bounds because it's going to start hyzering back.
Yeah.
And you're in the wide open.
Way up top, easy line to the basket from there.
If you have the distance with the forehand and Barsby's going to try to use the same play, this is the best way to attack the tee.
This is going to be up top as well, I think, or very close to it.
But with the forehand approach abilities that Barsby has, I don't think he's going to hate that.
He
No,
seems
that's
to hate
far.
it right now.
It's far from there. And you're going to have to flex it over the road, which nobody's ever wanted to do in disc golf
This
ever.
is way out there. This is not going to get all the way back to the green. Going to be an obstructed putt, maybe.
Yeah, that might be a tight one. That might be a really small window for the putt.
There's that Anheuser. Truss it.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's going to love this. If it just sits down, yeah, that's a great shot.
Nice.
Chris, this is looking a little on the short side. Just barely, but I think he's still in the circle.
Yeah, important fight through that branch. Sometimes you hit those square, it just stop you dead, and you have a really low chance of making the putt. But as it stands, good opportunity to keep that birdie streak going.
That was a funny angle of McBeth right there. It just looked like he just totally pulled it
Yeah,
because of that
just
angle, but it's
way
perfect.
out.
Yeah, whoa.
Chris from 29, and the perfect start comes to an end just an inch or two high on his birdie look. Mason, is he going to have to do a little horseshoe putt? It looks like that's what he's trying.
A little Hebenheimer action there.
Jake Hebenheimer, for those who aren't familiar, has a planned step horseshoe putt. Very interesting style that he's adapted for himself. As McBeth is in, and for the first time in the 2022 World Championships, Paul McBeth is under par.
And for the second time, Greg Barsby is 3 under par.
That's right.
That's why I'm here, for those interesting little tidbits.
Just math stuff.
I have never seen another group of people talk about their thing the way that disc golfers talk about our thing. And it feels like you're a part of it. It feels like no matter how big the sport gets, you being a part of it, you feel like you have an investment in it, and it's yours.
He's way out of position.
He's gonna have to force it, though.
I don't think he can.
Think it's even possible?
It's in the impossible range.
The way Worlds ended last year, you couldn't have wrote that in a book.
After the initial reaction, I had to process.
If you don't even think it's a sport, watching this moment has to get you pumped up.
He's going to need the shot of the century.
I could sense something was about to happen.
Watched that last night. Enjoyable watch to get hyped up for Worlds. Also watched the Fierce documentary a couple days ago. Both incredible. Both will definitely drive home the love of the sport. Show it to people who might not know.
Hole 8, par 3, 423 feet, bending right. You see rollers, you see big turnovers, and you see big forehands here.
You think we'll see any? I don't think we'll. Barsby might go with the forehand.
That's what I would think he would do, but you never know.
This is a crazy little number here. Looked like he got it a little nose up.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, Greg will go for it.
Usually see something really kind of turned over off the hand on this one to get it to push to that right-hand side.
That needed to start hyzering about 10 feet, maybe 30 feet before it did. That was a nice angle out of the hand, just a bit too much turn, maybe not quite enough energy as well.
And there's that turn that you really need.
Yep. Look at that thing. It's going to keep holding, keep turning. And there's going to be a
Fought
look.
through to a nice spot.
Like this is a Mason hole right here. A little technical swing. Get it over. This is too much Anheuser again?
A little
No.
too much.
Yeah, if it just had a bit more bite to it.
Oh, it might have been okay without that last little tree.
With another
Wow.
good-looking long jump putt, very controlled, keeping it in the bullseye while giving it a run at the same time. It's a great skill to have. So is that.
Okay. Been waiting to see that.
It's a great skill to have.
Couple low misses. That can't last forever. McBeth with a perfect putt there.
Chris straddled out to his left, a little leaner. Not a very good run.
Tougher than I thought it would be. I thought he would have a little bit more open look than it turned out he did have.
Very low ceiling.
Barsby gets the height right, but the aim was pushed just a foot right.
Typical hole 8. Maybe 2 birdies. You don't see a lot of cards start framing this one. It's just technical enough.
Yeah, 20% of the field. That's 1 out of every 5. So 1 out of every 4 on this card gets this one. That's about right.
Looking at hole 9, par 4, 682. This one has been shortened up. If you remember watching the DDO coverage, this basket would have been all the way out into the field beyond all these trees. This is a way easier par 4. Players just have to get this off the tee, bend it a little right, put it in play, and you're left with a under 300-foot shot into the green.
This went from the hardest hole on the course to the easiest hole on the course, 3.43 average. This is one you have to put yourself in position off the tee. It's just too open. The out of bounds is too hard to really find. That drive right there, a little bit long, yet he's still in position for the birdie. I think McBeth should have a good play.
Yeah, this one is like, I feel like the big arms could get within a jump putt if they wanted to get it really aggressive. I don't know if they will, because at a tournament like this, you're just looking to tack on as many easy birdies as possible.
Yeah. Super high risk, I think, with the OB, but you got to believe that like a huge flex shot could could get you a look.
Even a roller.
It's like if Barella gets just bored enough.
Mm-hmm.
That is a bit long again. I think that since he's far enough away from the wood line, he should have room to finesse some sort of angle.
It's gonna flip. Oh, this is
what you're looking
beautiful.
For.
Wow.
This is really, really nice.
That should be 240 maybe to the basket.
Yeah, I'd even guess less than that.
Got to hit a gap here, but it's decent size.
He's like one of those gap hitters.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Tennessee born and raised, man. The limestone laser.
Yeah. Lasers hit gaps.
That's what
for
they
sure.
do. It's the only thing they know how to do.
This looks good.
Very good.
McBeth does have enough room to swing the hyzer approach, and don't look now, McBeth is going to have 3 in a row heading into the back 9. Well, do look now. We need your views. We love your views.
And that's why it's the easiest hole on the course.
Yeah.
I was really surprised that this changed as much as it came back.
Yeah, so drastic.
I liked it. deep. I did. I thought it was a really tough par 4.
I think there's a halfway in between spot that could be pretty great.
I'm Team Nate on that one.
But like if it was in that position now, it'd be a tough par 4. But also at the DDO, we were dealing with catastrophic winds that were
Yeah.
blowing over RVs and such.
Yeah,
That hole would make sense in the lesser wind version of
Like
playing
today,
disc golf in
Yeah,
Emporia.
you could get it done today.
This is like a DDO playing in April type of hole where it's actually not easy.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to have a star frame to close out the front nine, and we have all 4 players under par. Chris Dickerson at 7 under, but that is only second place right now to Corey Ellis.
Wow.
Starting off with that fire 8
Whoa.
under par. Good stuff there.
Wow. World Championships are here, and these guys came to play. I mean, somebody always does. A lot of players always do, obviously. But, man, 8 under, a couple of 7s, a bunch of 6s. I see Jeremy Koling there with a 6. Fantastic start to this thing.
Yeah, we've got 9 more holes here before we head on over about a mile down the road to the Emporia Country Club for round 2. But let's see how these guys can finish out this first round at the World Championships.
Thanks for all your support. We'll be right back.